so excited for you to join me today for this really fun Enchanted Crochet Poncho. This is not Tunisian, this is not knit, this is straight up crochet with a crochet hook, and it's worked in the rounds from top down. The ribbing on the top is worked in rows, and that's joined, and then the rest of it is worked seamlessly down. And we increase when we do these repeats of these stitches. You can see how these nice fans increase all the way down, and that's how we increase for sizing as well. To create this poncho, we are going to be using the Wonderfluff bulky weight yarn. This is the Hare Heather color. It comes in 142 yards per 50 grams, and it's from WeCrochet. Now, if you would like to, they also sell an ombre one. So you can substitute 2 balls for one of these because this is double the yardage. And this is the Wonderfluff ombre. And I made this one with Kale Heather and then the bear, and you can see how gorgeous that is too. If you want to do an ombre effect, they tend to have a lot of the colors that's inside of here. This bear you can buy in these balls. So once you're done working from this one and you fade it into something, then you can work from that. So I think what I'll do on camera today is I'm going to start with the light color and fade it into the Hare Heather and keep going with that for the video. You will also need a pair of scissors, a stitch marker to mark the beginning of your rounds, a yarn needle to weave in your ends, and then a size 7mm crochet hook and a size 6mm crochet hook. We'll be using the size 6 for the ribbing up top, and then we'll switch to the size 7mm for the rest of the poncho. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, a quick note on sizing for this. When we start, we are doing the ribbing up top on the collar in increments of 4 rows. And that is how you can start that very first edge along here. So if you would like to increase or decrease the size of this, simply do so by adding 4 more rows or decreasing 4 more rows around the neck ribbing. What that also will do is it will add an entire repeat all the way down. So for every 4 rows you increase around the collar, you're also increasing one of these segments, and it will increase the bottom of it or decrease the bottom of it by this much, depending on how much length that you do. I did these in 2 different lengths. One is longer, one is shorter. So once we get going here, you can also adjust the length of this poncho to fit how you like. So that you can more easily see my stitches, I'm actually going to start this with the Hare Heather, and I'm going to set the ombre aside because it will be easier for us to watch the stitches in this darker color versus starting with a cream. So we're going to do a slip knot and place that onto our hook, and then we are simply going to chain 6. Now, if you don't want to have a turning chain, you can simply chain 5 and work in the very first chain from the hook. But if you want a turning chain, you can chain 6 and start in the second chain from the hook with a single crochet stitch. It's completely up to you. It doesn't make a huge visual difference. Sometimes I work a turning chain and sometimes I don't. It's not exactly necessary when it comes to working ribbing. So I'm going to work across all 5 of these stitches in single crochet. And then we're going to turn our work. If you want to, do a turning chain, so chain 1. And now from here on out for this ribbing, this will be our repeat. We're going to single crochet into the back loop only for 5. And what this does is this creates that ribbing when we work a single crochet into the back loop only. Now we're going to turn our work again and chain 1. I like to tighten that down if I do chain 1, and then single crochet in the back loop only for 5. And we're just going to keep repeating this. This is going to create our top ribbing. We're going to repeat this for a total of 68 rows. So we're going to keep on working for 68 rows and then come on back. Now, after creating 68 rows, we're going to go ahead and fold this in, and we're going to be joining our edges here. So we're going to be joining our current edge with our first edge, and we'll do that by chaining 1 and inserting our hook into the back loop only, and then into the loop of the very first round that we did. Yarn over and slip stitch those together, and we'll complete that for all 5 stitches across. So insert your hook into the back loop only, then into the loop from the very first row we did, yarn over, and slip stitch. And we'll do that for all 5 stitches. Now, after we have joined all 5 stitches, we are going to be doing a slip stitch all the way around one edge of this poncho. And that will even it out for us. It'll make it look really nice when we start to do our work. So this is when it's a good idea to get a stitch marker, because we'll be working in the round continuously for this, and you'll want to keep track of your very first stitch in the round. So what we'll do is we will be slip stitching 1 stitch per edge, so 68 slip stitches all the way around, 1 stitch per single crochet row, so 1 edge stitch per row all the way around for a total of 68 slip stitches. And we'll just keep doing that all the way around on these edges. Now that we have slip stitched all the way around, it's time for us to set our 6mm hook aside, and we're going to go ahead and grab our 7mm crochet hook for the remaining body. Move your stitch marker, and now we're ready to work this very first round. This setup round will be worked in the back loops only. It creates a nice edge when we're starting into this pattern. We're going to start this round by chaining 2. And then in the back loop only of our very first stitch, we are going to single crochet. Then we're going to skip the next and single crochet into the next 2 stitches. You can go ahead and mark that chain 2 as the beginning of this round. And that is going to be our repeat all the way around. So it's going to be chain 2, single crochet in the back loop only in the next, skip the next, and single crochet into the back loop only of the next 2 stitches. Now I just want to give you a tip as you're working this, because as we work the round after this, we'll be working split single crochets. So when you work your single crochets for this round, you'll want to make sure that you are leaving enough space in the stitch. And this is what I mean. When you work a single crochet into the back loop only, bring this loop that you're pulling up a little bit higher than you normally would, and that way it creates more space on the front of the V here for us to work into on the next round. Then you'll skip the next and single crochet in the back loop only of the next 2. And that is our repeat around for this round. So you'll chain 2, single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, skip a stitch, and single crochet in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches. I'm going to finish that all the way around and come back for the next round. Round 2. So I'm simply going to move my stitch marker here, and we're going to start this round by chaining 2, and then we are going to do a split single crochet into the chain space. And the reason why I'm calling that a split single crochet is because when we work it on the next round, we want to make sure that we worked it with that extra space on the front for this round. So it's signaling to you to pull up that loop to get it to the higher height so it's easy to work into on the next round. So then we will split single crochet into the next stitch. And if you've never worked a split single crochet, I do have a blog post on this, but we have a stitch here that looks like a V on the front, and we're going to insert our hook into the center of that V. And on the back side, it comes out underneath the horizontal bar and the upside down V. Then we'll yarn over and pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through 2. And that loop we pull up a bit higher than we normally would with a single crochet, because this is a split single crochet. We want to have more space to get into that V space on the next round. And these stitches are what make this look knit. Then we are going to skip this next stitch and split single crochet into the next. And that's going to be our repeat around. So that is chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space, working it as a split single crochet, split single crochet into the next stitch, skip the next, and split single crochet into the next. And that's our repeat all the way around. So one more time, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space from the row below, working it as a split single crochet, so you're pulling it up a little bit more than you normally would, split single crochet into the next, skip one, and split single crochet into the next. And that's what we will repeat all the way around. And now for round 3, we're going to go ahead and move the stitch marker. We're going to start our round by chaining 2. And then this is where we are going to do an increase. When we're increasing on these stitch patterns, we'll be placing 2 single crochet stitches, working them as split single crochets, into the chain space of the previous row. So now we're going to be increasing a stitch for the stitch repeat. This will take our stitch count at the end of this round to 80 stitches. After doing those 2 split single crochets into the chain space, we are going to split single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches and then skip the next. And so we'll go right into our next stitch repeat, which is chain 2, 2 single crochet into the next chain 2 from the round below, and then split single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches and then skip the next. So I'm going to do that one more time for round 3. These very first rounds are critical to get right, but once you get some of this built up, then you can see your stitches much better and you can see that stitch pattern much easier. So we'll chain 2. Into the very next chain 2 space, we are going to do 2 split single crochets. Then we are going to split single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches and skip the next. And that's what we will repeat all the way around for round 3. For round 4, we will start with the chain 2. We're going to move our stitch marker. We're going to do a single crochet into the chain 2 space from the round below. And then we are going to skip the next stitch and split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And then go ahead and mark the first chain space of this round so you know where you're at. And let's do that again for round 4. We'll start by chaining 2, doing a single crochet in the chain 2 space, skip the next stitch, and split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And that's going to be our repeat for round 4. So one more time, it's chain 2, split single crochet into the chain 2 space, skip the next stitch, and split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And then repeat those steps all the way around. Now for round 5, we're going to move our stitch marker and we're going to start our round 5 repeat by chaining 2 and then single crocheting into the chain 2 space. And then we're going to split single crochet into the next stitch, skip the next stitch, and split single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And place your stitch marker at the beginning of the round. So once again for round 5, that repeat is to chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space from the round below, split single crochet into the next stitch, skip the next, and split single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And that's the repeat for round 5 all the way around. And now for round 6, we'll move our stitch marker, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space from the round below, and then we're going to split single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, skip the next, and split single crochet into the next. Mark the beginning of your round, and let's do that repeat together one more time. For round 6, we'll start by chaining 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space, split single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, skip the next, and split single crochet in the next. And that's the repeat all the way around for round 6. Now for round 7. Once again, we'll move our stitch marker and start with the chain 2. This is going to be an increasing round, so we will be increasing from 80 stitches to 96 stitches. We're going to start by doing 2 single crochets into the chain 2 from the round below. Then we are going to split single crochet into the next 3 stitches and skip the next. So let's do that one more time. We're going to chain 2, do 2 single crochet stitches into the chain space, and then split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches and skip the next. And that's our repeat for round 7. Be sure to mark the beginning of your round each time and then work that repeat all the way around. And now for round 8, we'll go ahead and move our stitch marker, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space from the row below. Then we are going to skip the next stitch and split single crochet into each of the next 4. So we'll skip the next stitch and then split single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. Place your stitch marker at the beginning of the round, and let's do that repeat one more time together. We'll start with the chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space from the round below, skip the next split single crochet and split single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And that's the repeat for round 8. And now for round 9, we're going to move our stitch marker, and we'll start round 9 repeat with a chain 2. Then we're going to single crochet into the chain 2 space from the round below, split single crochet into the next stitch, skip the next, and split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And then place your stitch marker back at the beginning of the round. Let's do that one more time. So for round 9, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space from the round below, split single crochet into the next stitch, skip the next, and split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And we will repeat that all the way around. Now for round 10, we will move our stitch marker and start with the chain 2 and then single crochet into the chain 2 space from the round below. Then we will split single crochet into the next 2 stitches, skip the next stitch, and split single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And that's the repeat for round 10. So once again, that is chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space, split single crochet into the next 2 stitches, skip the next stitch, and split single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And that's the repeat for round 10. Now for round 11, we'll move our stitch marker, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space, split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Skip the next stitch and split single crochet into the next. And that's the repeat for round 11. Place your beginning of round marker and let me show you that one more time. Chain 2, single crochet into the chain space, split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, skip the next and split single crochet into the next. And that's the repeat around for round 11. Now for round 12, which is once again an increasing round. And at this point, I want to start talking about visually seeing this repeat so that you can do it at a point where you don't really need to look at the instructions anymore, because it just kind of repeats over and over but gets bigger and bigger. So on an increasing round, we're going to increase in our chain space, and then we're going to be skipping this last stitch here. So it kind of completes that swoop here. It ends this one and continues on with this one. So for round 12, we will chain 2. On an increasing round, we will single crochet 2 into the chain space, and an increasing round will always happen now from here on out when we are finishing off and skipping the last stitch in that segment repeat before the next chain 2. So you will always increase on the round where you are skipping this last stitch before the chain 2. Then we are going to split single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches and skip that last one. And then we'll do that repeat again. So chain 2, single crochet 2 into the chain 2 space from the round below, and then split single crochet 4. Skip the last stitch and then repeat all the way around for round 12. And now for round 13, I'm going to talk about round 13 a little bit differently than previous rounds as well, because I want to explain how this will continue to expand. So we're working around now in this pattern after we've increased. So we're going to move our stitch marker and we're going to start by chaining 2, and then of course doing a single crochet into that chain space. Go ahead and mark the first chain of the round. And now whenever you're starting this round, so the round after we've increased, we're going to always be skipping the first stitch and working the remaining before the next chain space. So I'll skip the first stitch and split single crochet into the next 5 stitches, or however many stitches there are before the next chain space. So let's do that one more time. That's chain 2, single crochet into the space from the round below, and then skip the next and split single crochet in the remaining stitches until the next chain space, which for this round is 5. And that is the repeat for round 13. And now for round 14. Now, even though in the pattern I've written out every single round for you, I'm not going to be showing every single round on camera. So I want to start to talk about how to kind of visualize and see these repeats as they go without even possibly needing to look at the pattern once you do a few of these repeats. So for round 14, once again, we will start by moving our stitch marker and chaining 2. And then we're going to single crochet into the chain space from the round below. Go ahead and throw your stitch marker back if you want to. And then on the previous round, on round 13, we did a single crochet in the chain stitch before, and then we skipped one. So we're just simply kind of moving the stitch counts before and after these skip stitches. So for this one, for round 14, we'll split single crochet in the next, and then skip the next, and split single crochet into the last 4 stitches. And then we will chain 2 and do that repeat again. So we'll single crochet into that chain 2 space, split single crochet into the next, skip the next, and split single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And that is round 14. Now for round 15, it will be, I'm assuming at this point you might be able to guess, but for round 15, we're going to be simply doing a single crochet in the chain 2, split single crochet for 2, skip 1, split single crochet 3. And the next round would be to do a single crochet into the chain 2, and then split single crochet for 3, skip 1, split single crochet 2. So we're just simply kind of rotating where we do that skip stitch and moving it along, and then we'll come back and do some increases. Now for round 15. We'll start by chaining 2, moving our stitch marker, single crocheting into the chain 2 space, split single crocheting into each of the next 2 stitches, and then we'll skip the next and split single crochet 3. Place your stitch marker at the beginning of the round, and we'll do that one more time. So for round 15, we chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space, split single crochet in the next 2 stitches, skip 1, and split single crochet 3. And that is round 15. And now for round 16, we'll start by chaining 2, single crochet in the chain 2 space, Then split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Skip the next and split single crochet 2. So once again, that's chain 2, single crochet in the chain 2 space, split single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, skip the next and split single crochet 2. And that is round 16. Now for round 17, and we'll start by doing a chain 2, single crochet into the chain 2 space from the round below, split single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, skip the next stitch and split single crochet 1. And that's our repeat for round 17. We can see how these stitches, the way that we work them and we skip, moving the skip stitch over one each time, that's what helps cause this to shift and have that beautiful waved effect. So once again for round 17, it's chain 2, single crochet in the chain 2 space, split single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, skip the next stitch and split single crochet 1. So now we are at round 18, and round 18 is an increasing round. That's why I want to show you this again. So on an increasing round, remember when we have 1 stitch left, we will be skipping that last stitch in this pattern and adding an increase here. So we'll start by chaining 2, do 2 single crochet stitches into the chain space from the round before, and then we're going to split single crochet in the next 5 or however many stitches until that very last one. And now we will skip that last one and start the repeat again. So chain 2, 2 split single crochets into that next chain space from the round below, and then single crochet 5 or until that very last stitch in each repeat that we can see is just kind of hanging out there. And then we will skip that very last stitch and repeat again. And that is round 18, an increasing round. And now for round 19, which is worked after the increasing round, and this will be similar on as we keep on going here with every round after you've done an increase. So we'll start by chaining 2 and single crocheting into that chain space. Then we're going to skip the next stitch and work the remaining stitches in this segment before the next chain 2. So we'll skip the next, and then we will split single crochet 6. Don't forget to place your marker at the beginning of the round. And I want to show you that one more time because this is what we will continue to do as we build it bigger and bigger with each repeat. But the steps are so similar each time. So we'll single crochet in the chain 2 space, skip the next stitch, and split single crochet in the remaining stitches until we get to that chain 2 space. And that is round 19. Now, after you finish round 19, you'll come back to round 20 and you'll start to really see this pattern where we will do chain 2 and then single crochet in that chain space and then split single crochet 1 and then skip 1 and split single crochet 5 or till the next chain 2 space. So it really just starts to make more sense after you get through a couple repeats, and then you can see how really we're just doing the same thing over and over. We're just making each repeat slightly larger as we go down to add more stitches. The pattern also includes a chart for you to visually see these stitches in the way that it's done. I love making these charts on stitch maps. It's a knitting program, but I find it works great for magical stitches as well. I have a key on there and I have 2 types of charts. One is just a plain chart. The other one has each row with a line through it so that you can see which round you're on as you're going and follow those stitches. Those stitches are worked live is what they're called, which means they kind of move on paper the way that they move on our crochet, which is really, really cool. I hope you've enjoyed this really awesome poncho project. Be sure to post your pictures in my community group, hit that subscribe button on this YouTube channel, and come back for some more fun projects soon.